What do you want to talk about this week, Amir?
The same thing we talk about every week, Eric. How will we get our message across when the power grid goes down and we don't have internet anymore?
Live to tape from Vancouver, it's Eric's Living Room, a show best listened to in the nude, featuring Amir Ali. And now, the man who still hasn't paid me for voicing these intros, here is your host, Eric Chapman.
Welcome to the living room. Do you mean the message of this show?
Yeah, our message.
Our message.
The message we're delivering on this high-rated podcast.
I am Eric. He is Amir on the highest-rated podcast on YouTube
in the world.
and Spotify.
Yep.
Check your RSS feed for Eric's Living Room. Number one.
Oh yeah.
Number one.
We wish.
Okay, so we got a lot to get to today. So a lot to get to. So let's do a mental health check, and I'm so lonely.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know, it sucks.
You got Teeny, and you get me once a week.
But remember when we're like, what did we talk about recently about, like, you know, being alone and things like that, and partners and things like that. And it's like after we had that conversation, like a couple days later, I was like, dang, I'm lonely. And we also talked about my former girlfriend, where I didn't get closure in my last relationship.
And how they traveled to Mexico with
some guy. And I'm like, I'm all confused and shit. And then right after that, I was like, oh, and then I got super depressed, like last week in between these two shows. Like I was down.
Damn.
And yeah, and it was all just low. And I feel better today. Like, and over like yesterday and today, I feel much better. But yeah, it's the first time I got actually depressed in a long time. And so yeah, it was because I'm so lonely. I want a snuggle buddy.
I would love to know what that means for you when you get depressed. What is that like? I'm so fascinated about that concept, because when I think that I'm depressed,
yeah,
I'm like, am I really? Like, what does that mean? Do you just feel really dark and like? Do you just feel like this black cloud over your head? Because that's sort of how I feel sometimes when I'm depressed. What is it for you when you're depressed?
I mean, if you want to put that on the list, then that's one of it. But it's a long list of multiple things.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I'm not listening to music.
Oh.
I'm not doing my dishes.
Huh.
I'm getting very angry because I've always had anger control issues all my life.
Are you directing your anger at something specifically, or just like anger inside you?
It is anger inside me, but it'll manifest in like old vendettas I want from like old bosses or old parts of my life. You know, like didn't want to settle the score, and I have a whole lot of anger, and I've for the most part been able to let it go, but it comes back sometimes. So the anger thing, it shows up as that, and then like I don't do the dishes, and I'm not listening to music, and when I feel depression through my, you know, the last little while, it's almost like it does come across as a different physical sensation, because I'm trying to relate them to physical sensations in the sense of like sort of neuroplasticity, I guess, where I want to be able to notice the changes in my brain, and it's almost like you can feel the difference physically in depression and just being sad. You agree?
I think for me, I just start to feel really physically heavy.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
sure.
I kind of pride myself on being like kind of agile, and I like to walk, and I like move quickly.
Yeah.
And go to the gym sometimes. Yeah. When I'm depressed, I just feel like I weigh 5,000 pounds.
Yeah, okay. And that's another
can't
thing.
Move.
That's another thing too. I won't be walking, and I love walking. I'm just like you. I'm really good at it. Like, we're excellent walkers.
Yeah, I think I'm a better walker personally, but I've walked all my life.
We're gonna have we'll do a whole show.
Walk off.
We'll just walking.
Yeah, we'll record the show live walking down the street.
Okay. So those are things. I look out for a list of different things to tell when I'm feeling actually depressed to just say.
I'm just feeling really paranoid. I want to make sure I hit record.
We're leaving this in.
We're good.
Because it's just, by the way, I know it's hard to tell because this show is so high budget. And everything is like green screened, our state of the art, utensils and things like that, and the sound room
in the kitchen.
Yeah, everything's good, but it's actually just Amir and I in here running the audio and the cameras, and I actually have just this slit in some sound baffling that I put up that I can watch the sound wave to monitor because I'm so paranoid and so. Anyways, that's some behind the scenes
I'm
stuff.
really
Go
sorry
ahead.
that you're depressed, or you were
Yeah, I
depressed.
was.
You're out
No,
of
I'm
it now?
feeling better. I'm still in it, but I'm feeling better about it and more comfortable in the fact that I'm going to get out of it real soon.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
For me, I have my mental health has been pretty good, but I haven't been able to really check in with myself as we've been talking about on the show. I've been doing therapy every couple of weeks, and I was supposed to have a session last week, but I couldn't afford it. I wouldn't have had money for food, but we'll get into that more in a bit. Yeah.
Well, maybe you got to get maybe like a third or fourth. I don't know how many jobs. You probably have 3 jobs.
I have 2
Okay,
jobs
2
currently,
jobs.
but only one at the moment because the other job is seasonal.
Oh, see, I have this weird, in the same situation, job situation where I have to work 7 things. And one of them is where I do estate auctions
Oh.
for people that have like, not all the time, but a lot of the time, people that have recently passed.
And you're going into their homes.
So we go into, and a lot of the times it's very large homes. And a lot of the time, large homes doesn't mean good taste. But that's beside the point. So I go into these homes and we walk through, and there's usually someone there grieving. Like, because they just lost someone. And it's very difficult because someone's died.
Do you ever go up to them and like console them? You're like, it's going to be okay.
Not
gonna be okay.
Not creepily like that, no.
It's going to be okay.
What are you, I'm a Batman when I can console?
It's going to be okay.
It's all right, lady, strange lady.
Okay.
It's okay. And so, yeah, but yes, no, there was one place where the lady was there and she was having a very difficult day. And so I felt obligated as an empathic person to just be like, hey, you know, you're good. How are you, stranger? Let me console you. And I'm okay at it, but it's still a weird experience. But like, I'm going through.
My parents died when I was younger. They got shot in the street.
In an alley somewhere?
That's how I became Batman.
And so I go through people's things that have just died. And so I'm going through people's sock drawers looking for money that they might have stashed. And like their essentials and things like that.
And this is your job duty.
Yeah, it's where I go to the bathroom. Yes, at my job.
No, but I mean, this is what you're hired to do.
This
You're
is what I'm hired
to go
to do.
through people's
Through
things.
people's things, their private essentials, and look for things, and then sort it and create little lots that we then auction off. But yeah, it's a trip, man. And like I said, as an empathic person, it's weird to be going through a recently deceased person's stuff.
For me, I would be kind of. I'm really into like the spiritual stuff.
Yeah.
Like ghosts and things like that. So I'd be like trying to sense if like the person who just died is like watching me go through their shit. I would be creeped out about that. And then sometimes you bring stuff home, right? Sometimes they let you keep some of the stuff from these estates.
Yeah, like the some of the auction pieces that don't get auctioned off. Because people will pay like a lot of money for things or a little amount of things, and they won't show up, and so that stuff's just there, paid for, but no one's taking it. So I'm allowed to take it. It's the rules of the jungle.
I just want you to know, Eric, you might be bringing home a spirit.
No, I'm not.
These days,
That's
spirits
ridiculous.
like to attach themselves to valuable things that they had when they were living, and sometimes they'll either put their own spirits inside of this thing. Or you'll feel the energy or the essence of this dead person on this thing that you're bringing home. I'm just saying, man.
I'm just saying.
One day your dog's gonna wake up with its head spinning around like The Exorcist.
That would be a trip. I would get the camera out and share it with everyone. That is cool. Dog head spin. So I did a tweet today.
Oh no. I don't think it's called tweet anymore.
No, it is.
But you can call it that.
We're calling it tweeters.
Tweeters.
I don't call it X. It's still on my phone. It's still.
I have to call
Twitter.
it X when I'm writing articles about it. So I'm like, oh fuck, man. A post on X said instead of saying a tweet said.
Some people say a post on X, aka Twitter. Like they'll put both on. Still journalists. But I did a tweet and I was like, it was a comment on using Taylor Swift as a buffer, and people are very defensive of Taylor Swift, and I get it. And I'm not cussing Taylor Swift in this tweet, but I was like, so I wish that we could get more people that people look up to that aren't looked up to for being famous and rich. That was what I was saying.
Okay, that's respectable.
Yeah, but I got a response that was like, well, she's talented and she deserves respect. How about you just let her be and all these girls look up to her and stuff? And it's like, well, that's kind of my point. Like you're making my point for me. Like it troubles me that we're still like put so much priority in these people that we don't know. Like we talked about it last. Like I'm gonna get Amir's face on a T-shirt.
Oh yeah.
Like let's stalk in people we know, but all this stuff into this celebrity, and I get looking up to people, and she's a musician and stuff like that, and she's a talented person. I'm not saying she's not talented, but if you want to put her up against other talented people, Beyonce has 32 Grammys, she has 12. Let's put her up against some other people like Adele. There's more talented people. But
That's very true.
That wasn't my point.
I would even argue that she's not that talented at all.
No, and even then, into what I'm trying to get across, that's not what I was even trying to say. I was trying to say was the support is shown to her because she's a billionaire and because she was on Time magazine, and that's a popularity contest, and because she has a lot of money. And I was just like, I wish that we could just stop like looking up to people that are rich and are popular. I just don't. It's just it's troubling.
Does that speak to at all that there aren't people to look up to nowadays in the public sphere that just aren't rich and famous? Like,
Yes.
I was thinking about people that I looked up to.
Yes.
And when I was younger, I was telling you this before the show started, that I thought that I could be the next Michael Jackson one day. Or I thought that I could be the next Michael Jordan someday, because I loved playing basketball when I was younger. Just keep at it. I'll get there. I actually thought that I would play in the NBA one day. And a lot of this was because my older brother, my middle brother, he was really good at basketball when I was younger, and he was about to make like the local like UBC, the BC team, like the provincial team.
Yeah.
And then he got injured, but I was like, okay, if my brother can do it, and like I'm learning so much from him, I'll be even better than my brother. I'll be the next Michael Jordan. So I suffered from that too, but then I'm starting to think about people that I did look up to that weren't, rich and famous, and then immediately my head goes to somebody like Malcolm X.
Okay.
Malcolm X, he didn't come from money. In fact, he was a thug, went to jail. He reformed himself in jail, went through some stuff with, different social groups, and then just became someone that people knew because of what he was saying, because of his words, not because he was famous, not because he was rich, but because he had a message. And speaking to what you're saying, I wish we looked up to people like, what is Taylor Swift's message? What is the message?
Well, be yourself and have fun and be free and things. I get.
And there's like that song "Shake It Off." Like, okay, great. That song has an okay message, just to shake something off that's bothering you or whatever. Don't listen to the haters, whatever.
Yeah.
But no, I resonate with what you're saying. I dislike that we sort of worship people who are, I'm sure she's on the verge of being a billionaire if she's not already.
She is. No, that's why she's getting props, because she is a billionaire. She's like one of the top ever female billionaires, which is great. And that's the thing too, like, and she's empowering young women and young men and young people. And that's awesome. But it's still rooted in popularity and the aspiration to become a billionaire. What are the chances? Like, and even in you there, Amir, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard, that you ever thought that you could be the next Michael Jordan.
Wow.
Like,
I still think I can. So thank you for crushing my dreams.
There is no way that's happening.
I'm only 35. I could still play in the NBA, man.
No, even as a teenager, there's no chance. And that is your dream and aspire to. That just, I don't know. I just feel like if you could put something into that much energy into something that you could actually continue with and be a contributing member of society with, like, I don't know. I'm not going to give an example because then we'll just get rooted in the example. But you know what I mean? Like, why not, instead of putting, like, that's a fucking ton of effort that these NCAA kids put in and these high school kids put in to become athletes. And if and it just cuts off at one point in their life. So they've put all this effort and all this stuff into something that doesn't fucking matter anymore. Because I'm sorry, it doesn't in the big scheme of things. And so why not get kids to go into things that they can continue on throughout their whole life and put all their effort into, like an engineer. Or no, let's not give an example, but you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, to your point, again, I think there is a lot of, like, Taylor Swift, for example, maybe she did have dreams of being like a major pop star growing up, but the difference between someone like her and a lot of her fans is Taylor Swift comes from money. So,
well, I mean, again, yeah.
To some degree, you can buy your kids' dreams if you're rich
yes.
enough. Just look at Lori Loughlin, and Becky from
Who's
Full
that?
House.
Oh, yeah, right.
Who paid for her kids to go through university.
Oh, shoot. Didn't she go to jail?
She did some time, I think. Yeah, not a lot of time because she has money. But I do think dreams can come true. But yeah, you got to sort of live in your space. Yeah, maybe my parents, first of all, were not going to encourage me to be an NBA star.
No.
But I was able to work at a radio station in Vancouver. And for me, that was a dream that came true.
Yeah. But that's not Michael Jordan. That's
exactly.
That's
totally.
a reasonable goal.
Yeah. But I wonder if I had invested as much of my mental energy into playing basketball as a kid and put my aspirations on that. Maybe it could have happened. There is a guy named Amir in the NBA. I just want you to know. It's true.
No, bro, I'm sorry. The chances are, well, okay, maybe, but again, the chances are so slim.
Bryant Reeves.
I could beat you at basketball, I bet.
We'll record that video one day. But that's the other thing now where I'm thinking about this, like,
yeah.
I'm so poor right now.
How poor, Amir?
Oh, I feel like there's a joke there that I can't think of on the spot.
That's why I gave you to the punchline. I gave it to you.
I'm so poor that I can't eat. That's not a joke. That's not even funny.
That's funny. That's pretty funny to me.
So yeah, like I was saying earlier, I couldn't afford to go to therapy, and we were kind of talking about this off the air. I'm going to be broke until tomorrow, which is payday, and then I won't be broke anymore. And if I just lived like I've been broke for the last 2 weeks after I get my paycheck, I wouldn't have to worry about it so much.
Yeah.
Why is that so hard? Why can't we live frugally all the time?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it because we're getting like so much shit thrown at us to buy?
Yeah, and for me, we shouldn't have to. Like, we shouldn't have to live this way. Like,
oh yeah,
you work for a giant company, and they should be able to pay you something where you live in this city, and they adjust for that, and blah blah blah. Like, that's what it's because I'm a bitter prick, and that's my point behind it. It's because we shouldn't fucking have to live so poorly when we're successful.
See, and that's, I feel like all of us just live too extravagantly.
But what's extravagant? Like what have I haven't eaten out in 6 months. I get beer once in a while. Like, there's no extravagance in my life whatsoever. Even if I have money, I don't live extravagantly at all. So and even when I make money, I still can't do anything because I pay so much in every other thing, right? So there's I challenge that. There's because I do not live extravagantly or out of my means.
I guess when I think of extravagant, I think of my head goes to the word consumerism and people buying shit that they don't need.
Right.
Like there's that movie The Fly. There's a scene where Jeff Goldblum's partner, played by Gina Davis, goes into his closet and she looks at his outfits and he has the same outfit for every day of the week, and it's just efficient. And that I wish we all lived like that. I mean, fashion is a way to express yourself. You do it very well. You're very colorful in your fashion and stuff like that.
But very cheaply.
And is that? I mean, I guess that is something that maybe I shouldn't call extravagance, because again, that's a way we express our personalities and socially how we express ourselves with each other. It says something about you based on the clothes you wear.
But I have a $700 pair of Fluvogs.
That's too extravagant. That's way too. I wouldn't spend. I have trouble spending more than $100 on shoes.
But that was when I was not living I could afford it.
Even if honestly,
I needed a nice pair of shoes. This pair of shoes I can cobble. This pair of shoes will last me 30 years. So I've spent that much money on. And that's the thing too. I have a couple things and a couple extra things, but because I live poorly, I know how to treat my stuff, and it lasts. Everybody compliments me on my pants because they look so crisp. They're 7 years old, but they look brand new because I know how to keep my shit tight.
I have a question for you and for you.
No.
So I'll ask myself first, if I was loaded, I honestly think that I would live the exact same way.
Yeah,
I know that's easy to say with having almost no money.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
I was having this conversation with my girlfriend that if I just got a surplus of money, like when my parents die, hopefully soon, I would.
Fuck, that'd be great, bro.
I would be able to put a down payment on a place, and that's the only big thing that I would spend money on. Maybe I'd buy some new clothes, and that's it.
It's funny when you think of like when I think of like winning the lottery, I'm like I buy a house, and after that, even in my imagination, I have a hard time thinking of anything else I even crave to do because I can just imagine myself just close my eyes and be like, okay, wait, I'm on 20 acres in the middle of nowhere, fully self-sustainable, solar power, don't have to worry, I have the internet, I have everything I need. I can do whatever I want. I can learn Spanish. I can learn how to whittle wood. I can walk into the bush. Like, that's heaven to me. Beyond getting a place, that's all I even dream about.
See, I was reading this quote about poverty and something along the lines of, it's not about the fact that we have enough money to feed the world. It's that rich people don't have enough money to feel satisfied. So they're always looking for more. And that's what I see in society is like, if as you were just speaking to, if I, again, had the money, I'd buy a house and then I'd spend the rest of my time developing skills like that. Like I would start juggling again because I'd have nothing else to do.
Oh, I'd be a jujitsu master.
But what people that have money are doing is they're just chasing more money.
Yeah.
But you already have enough.
What do you need more money for?
Retire, spend some time with your kids,
Oh.
and just forget about it.
I mean, take the kids out of the equation and just spend some time, and I'm there. I'm right with you. You're right. That's it. Just enjoy, and that's where I don't know, this mad scientist that I've been seeing a lot of videos on Instagram. I don't know his name. He's a good, cool scientist that I've been paying attention to, and I keep going by the same thing. He's like, I've just learned to enjoy the passing of time.
Yeah.
And that's enough for me, yo.
Damn.
All right, I got a question for you then.
All right.
What do you want to talk about next week, son?
The fact that we're being spied on.
What?
At all times, and no one gives a fuck.
Are you in there, Chinese government?